In today's video, we're going to be looking at how to do a mail merge using Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. Today we're going to be looking at mail merges. This is something I often get asked about. Often people want to send out brochures or catalogues, and sometimes it's different to send out something in the post as opposed to sending something out on email. Makes a difference to your customer interaction. Additionally, you might have not done a mail merge for a while and you're wondering how do we use it. Now, one thing I will say that Microsoft Word went for a bit of a stage with mail merge where they looked like they had designed mail merge when they came back from the pub, because a couple of years ago it really wasn't intuitive, it was difficult to find things, and you'll be glad to know that in the later versions of Word it's got much easier, and I'm going to show you how. So like and subscribe if you haven't already, and watch this video so by the end of it you'll be fully up to date on how to do mail merges. So for a mail merge you need two documents or two files, and the first file or one of the files needs to be your data file. So on the left hand side there's an example of this, obviously, and you need the information in that file that you're going to use in your letter or your mailing. The other document, and let's move over to the right of the screen for this, is going to be the letter that you're sending. So here I'm going to be sending out a brochure, and here's the letter and all the details. And I think it's good to spend a bit of time preparing these two documents. Make sure you get them right with your Excel spreadsheet. I've made mine into a table. There's other videos, I'll put a link into one of the videos on how you can use tables. Think about your fields. What information are you bringing in? Just give you an example here. So if we look at my letter on the right hand side, it says thank you for your inquiry on, and it's expecting a date. Now if we go over to the right hand side, there's a field there for the date of inquiry, so you must ensure that the information that you're wanting to merge is actually existing in the data source. We can only do, Excel and Word can only do what we tell it to. So spend a bit of time getting these documents correct, make sure they're up to date, and check them for any errors, and that's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. And then one other tip I would give you is for your Excel document, when you name the file, I would use something like the name, I'm going to call mine brochure data, and that way I know that that's the data document. And then my letter, I would use the name possibly, and this is just an example, but it's a really good way of thinking about how you might recognize the document later on. So I would use the file name, let's call this one brochure merge. So when I save it I would use brochure merge and brochure data, and that way I know that what document contains what and what to look for. Okay, let's get rid of those because they were just examples. Okay, so we have our two files, and let's have a look first of all at the Word one. One thing to remember when you do a mail merge, you need to close the data file down before you do it, because what will happen, Word will try and grab that data, and if the file is open it can't grab the data. So save and close the data file, and let's concentrate on the Word file. Here it is. Okay, a couple of things. I tend to put the date in as a field. Now the reason for this is often mail merges can be produced, take a while to put together, so you might start working on the Monday and you might not actually send it to about the Thursday or Friday, and then you forget to change the date. So I'm going to show you how to put an automatic date in. So what will happen when you open the file, the date will change, and it doesn't matter if it's taken you a couple of days to prepare the mail merge. So let's go up to the Insert tab at the top, and we are going to go over to the right hand side, and we're going to use the date and time option. I've just highlighted that in red there for you. Okay, and I'm going to choose how I want my date to appear, and I'm also going to tick the update automatically box, because then when whoever does the mail merge opens the file, the letter will be automatically saying the current date, and I won't be sending out letters that are look like they're a week old. Choose OK. There we go. And just one tip here, and this is also relevant to the mail merge. If I click once on that date, it comes up grey and people think it's highlighted. It's not actually highlighted. That date is a field, and that means it's automatically updated. Now you're also going to come across those in the mail merge because a mail merge uses updated fields. So that's the first thing, and I'm just going to make a little bit of space because we're sending out a brochure and we want to put the people's name and address in. But before we do that, we need to go into the mail merge options. So we're going to find that at the top of the screen in the mailings tab. So if we just go to the top of the screen and we choose mailings, that's there. Okay, so let me just explain how I use this bar. And I was saying to you that older versions of Microsoft, this used to be quite a badly laid out system, but it's much better now. And what I tell people to do is start, so right at the beginning you have the start mail merge option. So I'm just going to point that out to you there. That's there, start mail merge, and that's where it starts from. Now essentially you're going to work all the way along this bar. You're not going to need every single button, some of them you can ignore, but throughout the merge you work along until you get to the final option, which is finish and merge. Okay, so the first thing you do is start the mail merge, work logically through it, missing out the options you don't need, we'll talk about those, and the final option you choose is finish and merge. Okay, so let's go with the start mail merge version. And this is where you choose what you want to send. Now we can do labels, we'll talk about that in another video. We can do letters. We can even send, if you have people's email addresses, you can send to straight to email. Well, again, we'll talk about that in another video. We're going to stick with all envelopes. I'd avoid that one because you try feeding envelopes through the printer. So the process of setting that up works, but often the printers won't play game there. So let's go for letters. Okay, now you think, oh well, nothing's happened, but what it has done is it has made the second button on that bar. So remember I said to you, you're going to work along. So we've done the start mail merge. We're now going to go to the select recipients. So let's go to select recipients. And we have a couple of choices here. So you could, if you hadn't got an Excel database, start a list from here and start your data source from here. That would work. You could go from your Outlook contacts, but what we're going to do, we're going to go into use an existing list and we're going to pick out our data source. So here's my file, brochure data. Remember I said you use the word data just to indicate it's the data source. I'm just going to double click, and what that will do, that will link that. It will have a look at my spreadsheet. It will pick up, if there's more than one sheet, it will pick that up. So it's quite a good idea if you have got a lot of sheets in Excel to have named your sheet, but I've only got one, so let's just double click on the sheet. Okay, and you think, oh, nothing's happened, but actually what you've done, you've now created a link between those two files, and we're going to see what happens next. So let's go back up to that toolbar at the top, and you'll see, so we've done the first one, we've started the mail merge, we did the second one, we selected the recipients, and now edit recipient list is available. So let's go into that edit recipient list. So this is where it will pick up all the addresses from your data source, and you can go in and have a look. It's got all the details there. What we'll do another video and I'll look at how you can refine this list a bit more, but it's good to go in and just check it's picked up the right addresses, and all I need to do is choose OK. So I know that the two are linked, I know the data's there. How do I put the data in? So to put the data in, I use this button, this insert merge field. This, you've got to watch this box or this button because it's actually two buttons. And if you click on the top, it works slightly different to if you click on the lower part of the button. Let me explain. So let me click on the top part and you'll see I get this box come up here, and this box will stay there all the time. So if I just, these are all the fields in my from my Excel spreadsheet. So I can just double click, double click, double click, and that box doesn't close. Right, let's do the same thing with the lower part of the button. I'm just going to delete all of that. And we're going to go back to insert merge field, but we're using the lower part of the button. Now this way I choose a field and the box disappears. I choose a field and it disappears. So it's up to you which one you use. They kind of essentially end up doing the same thing, but the top part of the button leaves the box up, so you can keep choosing fields. The lower part will choose it and then switch off, choose it and then switch off. Okay, so I've got to tell it where to place the information. So if I go up to insert merge fields, I'm going to use the lower part of the button, because sometimes I find this lets me put punctuation in, because you still need to tell it where the spaces are going to go, where any returns are going to go, where any commas are going to go. So let's choose name. Okay, and when you put a field in, so first of all let's click on it and you'll see it goes grey. So that's showing me that it is a mail merge field. And also you get these chevrons, these little double arrows on the left and right. So there's some couple here, there we go, and there's a couple there. So again, it's showing me that that's a field, that information is coming from elsewhere. Okay, so I need to put the address on the next line, so I'm going to press enter. I'm going to go back to insert merge field. Again, I'm using the lower part of the button. And do add 1, that's the first line of the address, enter, add 2, and then enter again, town, and then enter again, and I'm going to put postcode in. Okay, so let's see what's happening. So my mail merge is starting to take shape there, but we want to just get an idea of whether this is working, because I'm just looking at fields, I'm not looking at data. So what I can do is go back up to that bar at the top, and this time we're going to go to preview results. So if I just click on preview results, I can have a look. There we are. So I've got the names in there, the address, there's all nicely spaced out, and I can even use these so if you look here, there's some forward and back buttons, so I could flick through and just have a flick through to see what the next one looks like, And I always think it's good to have a look at a couple. I'm actually going to switch off preview results, and then I can go back to producing it. Okay, so let's put in, I want to address this to the sender, so I'm going to put in dear, and then we're going to go back up to insert merge field, and we're going to pick up the name again and just have a quick look at the preview. So anytime you can jump into the preview just to see what your results are looking like. Okay, that's looking good. So the final one I've got to do is where it says thank you for your inquiry on, and I've got 4 X's in there, so let's get rid of those X's, and instead of that I'm going to use the date of inquiry. Okay, let's just preview those results. Now one thing it does, if you look at this, and this is really frustrating, so you'll notice that the date has transposed, so it's actually come out in the American format with the month first and the amount of days second. And whatever I do with the data file, even if I went into the data file and changed the date format in Excel, in Word it would still bring it through in the American format. And what we need to do to solve that is go in and tweak some of the settings. Now I'm going to show you that in another video. Let's carry on with the mail merge, because I obviously don't want to lose momentum here, and then look out for the next video I'm going to do, which will show you how to sort that date problem out. So let's come up to the top, and we've checked it out, we've previewed the results. So what we're going to do is we're going to go along to the final one, which is finish and merge. So think back to what I said at the beginning. We clicked on start mail merge, that was our first option. We then went to select recipients, we edited the recipient list. We didn't need to do a lot of these ones. We insert the merge field, we could then preview, and we're following the toolbar all the way along until we get to finish and merge, and that's what I'm going to do next. So finish and merge, and you get a couple of options here. So let's just go through these. The first one is always worth doing as a test, even if you're sending emails out. If you go and have a look at the documents, you can just make sure they're correct. So I would always do that first. If I'm sending brochures out, as I'm doing now, I would edit the individual documents first. What the second one will do would just go straight to the printer, and that's fine until you start printing and discover a mistake. So really, the first one, just to save on paper, is slightly better. And the last one, send email messages. Now at the moment in my data source I haven't got email option, but if you were wanting to email to all those people, and we'll talk about that in a further YouTube video, you could do send email messages. Let's go for the first one, edit individual documents. Here we go. Okay, it does give me a choice of which ones I want to do, so I could just do the current one. So if you just had one thing you wanted to change, you could just say do the current record. Let's choose OK. We did all there. And okay, first thing I look at, bottom left hand corner of the screen is the page numbers. So I can see it says page 1 of 3. I know I've got 3 records, so I know it's merged all my records. If you've got 26 records and your letter was a page long, it should say 1 of 26. So this is your double check just to make sure. Okay, let's have a quick zoom in. So I should have 3 letters there, and I can check them all, make sure they're all right. Now let's say I look at these and I think, oh, actually I didn't put the end bit in, I haven't put the finished it off. So what I would do if I'd made a mistake on the original source letter, I'm going to close this file down. By the way, just one other thing to say, when you first merge a file, it's known as letters 1. So if we look at the top of the screen, Word will have saved this as letters 1. So you can then obviously save it as whatever you want. Now I don't want this file at the moment because it's not quite right, so I'm going to close it. I'm going to say don't save, and this will bring me back to my mail merge document, my merge document, my letter, my original letter. So I can add in at the end, yours sincerely, and I can put my name. Okay, so I've just added in what I needed to. I can go back to the top, finish and merge, edit individual documents. Okay, so now I've got 3 documents again, but the letters are properly finished off. So what I suggest, if you spot an error, and that error is for all the documents, close down the merged version and go back to the main document and edit it there. If I then went through and maybe had little tweaks to do, maybe I needed to add little personalizations in, I might have to do them this way or go back and put them in the data. Okay, so there's my merge. I can then print it off, and often it depends. Some people save this merged document, that's fine, or you might just want to close this down because you've always got the data and the main document to go back to. So I hope that's been really helpful. Look out for some other videos because I'm doing a bit of a series of mail merge, especially the one to address that date format, and hopefully it's given you more of an idea of how merge works in between Word and Excel. Actually, I'm just going to show you one more thing as well. So I've just closed down my merge document, my main letter, and I've just opened it back up again, and it brings up this message which when you first see it can look a little bit scary. Opening this document will run the following SQL command, and all that's doing is saying to you that when you open the file, it needs to talk to Excel and pick up the data. Don't worry about this, but you need to click yes here, and then what will happen, the Word document will talk to Excel and pull through the relevant information. And then what you would do, go back to the top to mailings. You've got your toolbar there as usual, you can make any tweaks, and you can still go to the top to finish and merge. So do make sure that you do that when you open the document and you get that instructional box about the SQL command. Don't panic, just say yes, I need you to talk to Excel, and all should work. Good luck with it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on how to get your mail merges to work.